This is Pete Deboer. You're listening to Missin Curfew.
What's Missin Curfew? It's when you kind of play guilty, but you show up.
How nice is a green light on the road, though? No practice tomorrow, no plane, just go.
Scotty Upshaw in the clear, and he scores! Right in front, scores!
A few laughs, a little bit of fun, and obviously a lot of hockey talk.
You're listening to Missin Curfew.
Fellas, coming to you from Hall Pass Media. And before we start snapping around crispy rice, spicy tuna, let's not forget this show is always presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crowd is yours. Obes, the up dog, our boy 93.1 Swishy Swish. Fellas, how we doing? We got a great guest today, Thursday, Fella Friday tomorrow. Fucking football. Uppy's off the wagon. Let's get pinned.
Yeah, it's a good weekend, boys. What do they call this? This is a
Divisional week.
It's called a divisional week. 4 games. You get 2 days off from being, responsible adult, dad / spouse. You get to sit there, crush Labatt blue lights, and gamble. And I'm back.
Responsibly.
Oh yeah, responsibly. And I'm back. And Swishy, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling fresh, buddy. I almost like, the fact that I only drink on the weekends now, it's giving me just this jolt of energy. I feel young again. I feel like I'm 25, fella.
I know. Well, I saw you were crushing hot yoga yesterday.
And today.
Would have been Wednesday. So the early bird does get the worm. Me and Obes were wondering, what was your regimen when you were playing? You know what I mean? What was your workout regimen when are you working out harder now in January than you did when you played?
Well, fuck. January was always a tough one for me because, you got New Year's, right? So you got to set up that party. You want to make sure the boys celebrate the new year the right way. And then, whatever kind of points you can collect, you score a couple goals in January. It's always good to start the year off with a couple points, put those in your pocket. But yeah, as far as my regimen back in the day, God, little cold tub in the morning to wake up, after the celebrate the win kind of sting that you feel getting stung like that. But not much has changed. No. When I played, I'd show up, as you guys know, but then I always found a way to fucking, get it done off the ice.
Yeah.
Get it done. No, you're not getting pinned every night cooking for your kids. That was definitely one thing I wasn't doing. But I was for sure making up for it with going on a little date with a pair of babes.
I don't ever remember you getting hungover when you played either.
No, I never hung over.
I don't ever. I mean, I only played with you for a little bit in Florida, but
never hung to you.
I don't remember you coming in hung.
Actually, I don't even know the word hungover. Never felt it. Never, spell it.
If you don't stop, eh? That was the one funny thing, Swishy. I know Updog came in. I don't know if it was this year or last year. He's like, I think you're on the show with us. He's like, fuck, I haven't drank in 3 days, boys. Is this what it feels like? I'm like, yeah, this is what it feels like. You're a little hung, bud. You're a little hung. That's why you got to just kind of, you got to power. Or you just have a cocktail.
I would say now, though, Swishy, now my regimen, it really is find the time to take care of yourself. And with that, it's not, in the gym doing leg day like we talked about the other day. Because not many of us in our 40s, unless you got kind of a screw loose, you're not getting in there and fucking, doing deadlifts and hex bar drills and fucking split squats. I know you are over there, but you're not 40 yet. You're just kind of like, how do I just keep the dad bod from going full dad bod? And with that is the sauna, which I know our boys been fucking getting in there. It's I watch what I eat.
I wouldn't say you have a dad bod though, dude. Isn't dad bod when a guy gets fat?
Because I was always chiseled, bro. I used to not have to work out in the summer, and
you did work out.
Well, yeah, but I didn't have to, but I did.
I mean, you got your cardio in the bedroom. I will say that. I mean, yeah, that's where he got worked on his win. But no, I said this about Uppy. He was in the same shape, kind of just year round, right?
Yeah.
You never really got out of shape. You never really get for me, Swishy. When the season ended for me, I got out of shape so bad that when I started, I had to ramp it back up. I would say the up dog, your weight never really fluctuated much.
Injury prevention. You don't want to get hurt in the bedroom, which it did one time. I fucking blew my shoulder. I blew my neck shoulder out, Schmaltzy, doing missionary in St. Louis one time. I had to jump off.
Straight mish.
I jumped off the bed and had to get on the foam roller immediately. And then I got to the rink the next day. I could not turn my head left. I literally was like, fuck. I looked at Brodziak and Otter and I'm like, I got to play the right side today because I cannot literally look over my left shoulder to see who's there or where the pass is coming from. And And so, yeah, only one time I get put on the IR from a bedroom.
What were you doing missionary for? You bored of all the other stuff or what? Did you go through the whole rotation and went, oh, fuck, it's been a while since I tried missionary. Let's give this a go here.
Usually, yes, that's what I deserve for to be so boring.
Yeah, I have a lot of stories I heard over the years. I never heard much of the missionary come out of him, Swishy. I'll tell you that.
I was never much of a missionary. I like to travel, but not like that. Yeah.
Headstands and other stuff.
Yeah, it must have been boring. You must have been hitting for the cycle.
I hit for the cycle, yeah.
Uppy, you touched on this on the show on Wednesday. I didn't see the clips when it came out, but as the weeks trickled on here, Barrett Jackman, Steiner, and there was a third guy that got inducted to the Hall of Fame, but obviously Chaser, seeing the clips come out about him being an all-time Blue, that was emotional. But just the whole experience they have there, the way they do it, they have the Hall of Famers sitting up there. They have ex-players that still live in the city. We've talked about the alumni. Good for the St. Louis Blues, man. I've seen the clips all week. It's first class. And you could tell how much of these guys, and you played their ups, and so did you, Swishy, you could tell how much these guys love being a St. Louis Blue. So kudos to those boys. I didn't really realize what it was till I saw it the rest of this week. It's been pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think the kudos is that there's really only a couple teams in the league that I would look at and say that they would have such a reception like that with, heartfelt stories and, all the accolades and just how tight the community is around hockey and what hockey's done to that community it would be St. Louis. You look at other teams like Detroit could probably have that. Yes, all the Canadian teams, but in the U.S., like such a great Midwest city, the St. Louis Blues, and passionate for their team. And yeah, I'm just upset I didn't get the invite, to be honest, sir. I saw them all up there, and I listened to Chaser, and I listened to Hully talk, and Steiner, who I love Austin, love him like a brother. And I just wish I knew this was going on because it's a very special group of guys, and I'm honored to be just in the conversation as an alumni. I don't have a spot in their alumni room, nor should I. I don't live there, but there's a lot of just great people around that organization, and what they're doing is right.
Yeah, I think from the stuff I saw, maybe Oshie, maybe he was in there.
He was there. He was working the game. Yeah.
So I wouldn't take it personally. I don't think they flew anyone in. I think it was just the guys that all live there, Swishy, the local St. Louis guys.
I would have flown in myself, but I mean, I would love to celebrate Steiner's thing. I just didn't know that was going on. But like you just said, I'm glad you watched it. It was A+.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that team is obviously struggling a little bit right now, but I thought it was cool. TJ Oshie, I believe, told a story on ESPN because he was doing in between the benches the following night. But he was talking to trainer there, longtime trainer Ray Borelli. And Ray Borelli was telling a story about how a young player on their team, Otto Stenberg, was able to attend that and hear the stories, be around the legends, and really take a grasp of the rich tradition in St. Louis, obviously with the Stanley Cup teams, Prongs, Hully there, Chaser. I think that's very invaluable to the younger players there as you're setting the culture to this new wave of St. Louis Blues. And, the young kid, he's 21 years old or whatever he is, was like, I want to be a part of this. Like the next day at the rink, he was just raving about the stories and the players that came before him. So they do a great job there. The culture is obviously established, and that starts with a guy like Kelly Chase, who was at the forefront of that alumni.
Yeah, Chaser's a beauty. And you guys talked about Barrett Jackman, and then Cam Jansen got up and talked about, and I mentioned you guys on the Wednesday show, like, I was kind of surprised he's a Hall of Famer. And then I listened to Cam Jansen talk about like what Jackman was to that team with their young guys, right? Like Oshie, him, Perron, Petro, like 4 of the 5 guys that won Stanley Cups. The only guy who hadn't was Janny. But so you could see what Jackman did for not just what he did on the ice by playing hard and playing there for 13 years, like Swishy said. More of what he did for the young guys and mentoring them was what I took out of the ceremony. There's Big Walt,
good Western leaguer.
Yeah.
And Barrett Jackman's first D partner, Obes, was a man named Al McInnes. So he learned from the best. And I just thought that was a cool nugget of his first game. And he was talking about, his first game in Detroit. Al was his partner. And he said Al was just unbelievable to him. The communication, similar to what Pete Deboer was saying with Thomas Hartley and Drew Doughty at the Four Nations. And, sometimes as an older defenseman like that, especially Al McInnes, a Norris winning defenseman, you might be stiff or, not treat a younger guy the right way, but it was just cool to to hear how well he was, treated Barrett Jackman as a young player.
Just slide it over to Big Al back in the day. Just put it in his fucking triangle, let him lean on it.
Yeah, he shot the puck like a crazy man. Just watch it as we're talking here. We're watching this clip up there and seeing Alex Steen when he laughs, Schmaltzy, is all time. Like the guy, when he cracks up and starts telling stories and laughing, and we just went by a clip there where he's doing, there's nothing better than sitting around telling stories with that man. So this is a well-earned honor for both those boys.
And listen, Holly Holly talking about Chaser, and you know Holly better than me, but I don't peg Holly as an emotional guy, really. He's a beauty. Love to have a cocktail with him and laugh, but seeing him getting emotional about Chaser and how much Chaser meant to Holly.
Yeah,
I don't know if Chaser probably ever knew that. Like Holly was saying, the clips I saw, I think this is the first time I ever told Chaser this. So, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, he's talking about his best friend who he's witnessing go through something really shitty, and that's going to bring out the soft side in anybody. But this was a celebration for all these guys and for Chaser, and it was very well done. So great job, St. Louis Blues, and I recommend everyone watch it. If you're a hockey guy, if you're not a hockey guy, just witness what the St. Louis Blues did this week there for those guys. It was great.
It was cool too. Swish, they were asking Steiner about when they won the cup, and Obi Clark came up. They're like, when you went to Obi Clark,
so Steiner, when you talked about it,
yeah, they asked Steiner how it was. He's like, talked about the parade. And all I could think of in the back of my mind was that fucking Larry Flowers was at all that shit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Still leaves a sour taste in my mouth.
Had the custom jersey on.
Bought that jersey himself.
Yeah, he was all over it.
He was all over it. Good on the Blues. I think other teams around the league should see what they're doing with their alumni and maybe not try to match it because it's hard to match, but learn from it, boys. So last but not least, a little intro here. North Dakota, all over my feed. John Gruden, who I know you love, Coach Gruden, gets a box of North Dakota gear, opens it up. Love watching him open up that box of stuff he always gets from football teams usually. So I said, Swishy's going to love that on X. And then I see they come out with the all-century team, and my boy 93-1's not on it. Doesn't make sense to me, fella.
Yeah, well, shout out to John Gruden, Dane Jackson, who's a buddy of mine, the head coach there, and Bryn Chiswick, who was my former 3-year roommate there as the general manager of North Dakota Hockey. They did a great job in sending Gruden that package, so a couple clicks for those boys up in Forks. But yeah, so Obi, it was the all-quarter century team. The all-century team, I'm not making that squad.
My best.
You got defensemen like James Patrick, just some all-time legends. But it was the all-quarter century team, so 2000 to 2025. And the only, Combi was on there, Greener, but some good names left up on the back end. Derek Forbert was not on the list. There was, even other defensemen that should be in the running, like 93.1. They could have put me on the third pair. I know it was on a burner account, so it wasn't like a legit source, but I like to think that I'm at least on that third pairing on the right side. All conference D-man. That 2 good years there. Then I left.
For the show.
First rounder in the show. All-time glue guy. Good in the locker room. I mean, come on. I was their number 1 defenseman for 2 of my 3 years there. At least I would have liked honorable mention, but that account went elsewhere. But yeah, that was funny seeing that. I called that guy out.
It wasn't legit. It was just someone.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought it was legit.
It was some
actual. Okay, so it's just some guy that
was a burner account.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I just had to throw him a little jab there.
Yeah. Well, listen, to make you feel better, my Kingston Frontenacs team left me off my quarter century team. From the team. Yeah, they left me off. Some guys I've ever played in the league made it out.
Yeah.
I was there for 2.5 years. 600 games.
They need to reevaluate that.
Yeah. I took it a little personal.
Maybe next year.
Like MJ says in The Last Dance, I took that personally. Maybe next century. Maybe look at the next one. But hey, how fired up were you though to see? I know you're a big Gruden guy like me, with your North Dakota gear, opening the box, fucking talking North Dakota hockey. I'm like, Swishy's gonna love this shit.
Yeah, I don't know if he went on Wikipedia before and was firing out different stats, names, players that had played there, but he was all over it. I was actually really impressed. He knew the coaches' names. He knew former players. He said Brock Besser is his favorite player in the league right now. So I hope John Gruden gets up to Forks. And if he does, and I'm available, I got to get up there too, because I just got to meet that guy. I want to be around him. I just want to be around that energy.
Buddy, if he's there, I'm coming too. He's a member at Avila Golf Club where I joined right before they shipped me out of town.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and I went in there and his locker was there. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna meet this guy. I'm gonna become friends with Coach John Gruden.
Yeah.
Fuck, 2 weeks later, I was in Vancouver at Earl's down Yaletown going, I guess I'm not gonna meet Gruden, but I'd like to meet this waitress here. What's her name? Hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Just got Shady. How you doing? Shane O'Brien, nice to see you here. Stay on the Second Place Hotel. How are you? Love the chili chicken too. Thanks.
Yeah, you're like, I can handle the rain.
Yeah. You want to go to the game tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Hey, we got tickets? Tickets.
Oh,
damn, we're gold.
Obes, did you ever see the Frank Caliendo when he went into the war room of the Oakland Raiders when Gruden was there and he did the impression of John Gruden? Like, it is spot on.
Knock on wood if you're
unbelievable.
Knock on wood if you're with me, hey? And
Yeah.
he had like the fake replica of a Super Bowl ring that was it was the size of this fucking tin of Candips. It was like that in
Yeah.
my hand.
He walks in, he's like, John Gruden, Dayton University. I do this shit for free, man. You know why? Because I fucking love football.
Yeah.
Knock on wood if you're with me.
Yeah, it's
all
so
time.
good. It is so good. Coach Gruden loves hockey, man. St. Louis Blues, he likes them. Now he's talking about North Dakota.
So let me ask, because I've seen the clips, but like what? So he opens up boxes people send him. Like, what's the craziest thing you've ever seen him open up?
No, so it's just usually all football swag.
Yeah, it is.
So
Football.
like every college football program will send him a bunch of swag, and he opens it up, and then, we often talk about Gretz's knowledge about hockey. Well, Coach Gruden, he opens up these boxes, and he'll be talking about programs, and he'll go back 50 years. He's like, yeah, this year they had quarterbacks, and he goes through, while he's opening the box, he goes through basically every good player that's ever played that program. And there's no notes. He's just opening it up, and it's coming from his head.
Yeah, well,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's a beauty. He's got his fucking right here.
Yep.
We might need a fellow tour up there in North Dakota next year, maybe, eh?
I would love it. I love doing one trip a year, usually in October, one of the first weekends of the year, so she's not too cold. But yeah, you guys got to get up there. We got to do it.
Let's muck it up. I want to get to St. Louis too, to OB Clark's. We need a fellow tour there. We got a lot of things coming in the future, boys. It's exciting here. So we'll be right back. I'm Missin Curfew. Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Pick six, fellas. DraftKings' newest fantasy pick'em game. Just choose more or less on two or more player stats. The more accurate your picks, the bigger the payout, fellas. Get in and see how just a few picks can turn in some nice dough. Fellas, I was firing again last night.
firing.
The thing you got to realize about this pick six, boys, you just got to hit one, Swish and Up Dog, right? You just got to hit one. It's obviously not easy to put a little six-pick parlay together, but you just got to hit one. And I'm a little ice cold again, boys, but I had last night, it was TNT night, so I figured I'm going to do the games I'm watching. Rasmus Dahlin over half a point hit for me. Ike's got me over half a point. Mitch Marner, who I don't know if you guys knew this, he's playing center right now.
Yes, he is.
Swishy with the injury to big wild Bill Carlson. Marner down the middle. Watched him play last night. He was okay. I mean, he hasn't played center since junior.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they just threw him there because they're a little thin down the middle right now. But I guess for $13 million, they're like, you got to play center, fella.
Yeah. Yeah, he looked all right. I thought he was fine. He's obviously a little light down the middle, but he can skate. And his stick is unbelievable. And, that's probably not a long-term player plot there. But, yeah, when to fill in, he looked serviceable. You know what I mean? He looked fine.
The one thing I would tell him, if he wanted to ask me, or if I was on the team, let's pretend I'm on the team. A lot of times he would, you need to get lower in that center. You got to get lower there, Mitch.
Enjoy the lows.
You got to get low for me, man. A couple times, Swish, they would go D to D, and he was swinging this way and that way. It's like, dude, just get low there. Let me give it to you, and then you can start dissecting your way up the ice. So I haven't watched Vegas play much. Last night, that's one thing I noticed. Get a little lower there, Mitchie.
Yeah, I would say as a winger, though, you're so programmed to slash across the ice, and you take a way more vertical angle out of the zone.
Yep.
So where him, he's got to get lower, and he's got to open up that pocket, like you said. Touch the crease. Be available. Talk. Let me know if you have time, and, hey, slip that thing to the middle. But I would agree with that. That's probably an adjustment. Obviously, he's going to have to get used to just different routes in his zone.
From a winger's mindset, centerman's more timing. It's more reading the play and timing, being in like being in a good defensive position, and then using like what sort of speed you have to be the second layer of speed. A winger just thinks as soon as the puck's turned over, I'm fucking skating as fast as I can out of the zone because you need the speed. The centerman has the second wave of opportunity, which I always looked at as if you play with good, strong wingers that make good plays back to you, as a centerman, you just get so much more Corsi and fucking the puck's on your stick more, and you get more opportunities to hit the late guy. But a winger, you're solely like fucking go.
Yeah.
So
Release the hounds.
I'm not going to tell Mitch Marner how to play hockey.
I am. I'm going to tell him. I'm telling him, hey, Mitchie, get a little lower for the fucking D-man. We need you, eh? Switch you low and slow. Boys, and then I was all over Buffalo. Big win last night. It wasn't the most exciting hockey game on TNT, but I had Tage Thompson over half a goal. Didn't hit. But what a presence out there, man. Every time he was on the ice, you noticed him because he's 6'7". But he's starting to, you talk about good routes. This kid's learning how to play the game the right way. Like, he was in the right spot a lot defensively, Swishy. He had a good stick. And then anytime he has the ability to shoot the puck. But my point being, anytime he was on the ice, very, very noticeable in all three zones.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it on this podcast, and Uppy knows him from his early days in St. Louis before they shipped him out of town. This kid is what Buffalo embodies, right? He's the face of the team. I don't care if Rasmus Dahlin wears the C. To me, when I watch this team, he's the heartbeat of the team. The entire offense goes through him. He just, he wants to be there, and he cares. To me, he's almost like trying to mimic what Josh Allen is doing for the Bills. He's just one of those players that he's taken his game to the next level, Obi, but he wants to put this team into a winning position, and that's where they are right now, and he cares so much. So it's cool to see, and I just think the team runs through TNT Thompson all day.
How about when he clocked the hardest wrist shot ever in NHL history, like 93 miles an hour?
Yeah, he can lean on it. He's just a presence there, and he's learned how to play away from the puck, in my opinion. And I'll tell you who else was all over the place. Right there, our boy Bo Byram. He was fucking up ice all night, man. They got all the pieces, man. And Swish, I saw your post also about, Owen Power. You might be onto something there, right? Like they got a pretty good back end with some depth. Do you move an Owen Power to bring in some kind of forward?
Well, see, the thing with him is you got to be careful. He's played sub 300 National Hockey League.
Yeah.
And to this point, he doesn't have the bite, or I would say the offensive ability to be your number one. So now if I look at him and you look at his trajectory, I don't know if he's ever going to be a bona fide number one. He could get there, but I do think in return, you could get a very good elite centerman. So not that I'm spreading rumors over here, but there have been some rumblings of Doug Armstrong willing to listen to anyone on his roster. What about an Owen Power for Bob Thomas? If you're looking for a number one center, a second line center, someone that could play, more or less in front or behind Tage Thompson as a centerman. I don't know. I just think Buffalo, if you could go get an elite centerman and it would be at the expense of Owen Power, I think you'd be fine there because you do have Rasmus Dahlin on the left side, as well as re-signing a guy like Bo Byram and that Matthias Samuelsson. Say what you want. He's playing really well as of late, too.
He is actually. He had a nice match last night. I chirped him so much when they gave him that deal. You know what? They're a little thin down the pipe. You're right. Ryan McLeod, who played great last night as well, but you bump him down to a third line. I'm going to throw another name out here. See, now we're just going to have a little rumor mill session here. What about Owen Power to Calgary for Nazem Kadri? I don't know if Nas would want to waive his no clay to go to Buff, but you give Calgary a young defenseman. I know Taj makes a lot of money, but I don't know
how many years is Kadri have left in the tank of good hockey. Is it 3, 4? I mean, he's a 1990 born, so he's 35 years old. He's a late 90. I don't know.
I like his game better than Thomas's game.
Yeah, do you? Really?
I do.
Bob Thomas is pretty good when he's going.
Yeah,
Bob Thomas
controls.
I like Kadri's compete more.
Yeah, for sure. So they're two different players.
Yeah.
It all depends. Kadri's not a first-line center. Bob Thomas could arguably be.
I'll tell you who's turned into a nice player there, too, is that Josh Doan.
Yeah.
He's turned into a real nice player.
Oh, he's great. Player. Yeah, he's really good.
Buffalo, go ahead, sorry.
No, Andy, I was just going to say, Norris gets hurt last night. You need that kid to stay healthy because he's actually a great player when he's healthy.
Big time. Benson, he's a good little player, too. I heard Tage Thompson talking somewhere. I think it was on Chicklets or something. He's like, he could be the dumbest kid I've ever played with, like Zach Benson, but he plays hard. Just to finish up my pick 6 here, I had Jason Zucker. That was a bad bet. But I had Alex Tuck over half a goal, and this is at the end of the game. Breakaway. What does he do? Passes it, slides it over to his teammate, which is the good guy move. But I'm on the couch at the Bay Club yelling, fucking shoot that in the empty net. I had him over half a goal. I still would have missed, but it would have kept me alive.
Yeah.
Would have kept me alive to just get a 5 out of 6er, get my money back. But good guy slid it over to, I believe it might have been Josh Doan. Doesn't matter. McLeod, thank you. That's a good guy move. Would you have done that, Ups, or you just put that?
I'm taking the goal.
You're taking
going right out after. Yeah, you see my goal?
Well set up, dog. Pick 6, Buffalo. We're going to get to Buffalo and get this guy Labatt Blue. But first, fellas, it is a Kits Eyewear Dish of the Week. Fellas, all you got to do is go to kits.com or kits.ca, pump in your prescription, virtually try it on, pump in promo code curfew. Next thing you know, knock on your door. Promo code curfew gets your first pair of any prescription glasses absolutely free. Boys, this is back to Monday night. Montreal Canucks. I had the Habs in the game. It was on Prime. Roll it, Casey. Demidov here to put a little salt in the wound for the Canucks. Look at this little play here. Boom. That is our Kits Eyewear Dish of the Week. Backhand. Watch this up, Doug Swishy. Through the box. Right in his 5-hole. I mean, this Demidov is sick. That is our Kits Eyewear Dish of the Week. This is a great game to watch. But this pass, that stuff right there, up dog, you can't teach. That's why this kid is
He's
elite.
one of the best, if not the second best rookie right now to the young kids, the young guns.
He's leading rookie
rookies,
scoring by quite a bit.
Yeah, I would just So the Schaefer.
But you got Schaefer fever. You got Schaefer.
I do. A fucking kid is nasty. And then you're breaking these upper deck cards. And you want to hit either that one or Schaefer. Like those are the two kids. These are the rookie class, Schmaltzy, that are going to be, the talk of the town for the next 20 years. And the NHL's got some promising young stars in those two kids.
Obi, isn't it so funny too? Like you see a pass like that, and all you say is National League.
Yeah.
Like if you can go dot to dot over 2 sticks with backhand sauce, put it in a guy's wheelhouse. There's not many leagues that guys can do that in, especially at the speed of the NHL, right? Some guys in Europe can do that, but it's not the same speed. It's not the quick hitter. I always think if it's a dot-to-dot pass over sticks, backhand sauce, one league in the world, National League.
Exactly. And by the way, because the best defenders are in the National League too, right? And we're pretty good at getting our stick on it. The thing I love about that play is when the centerman F1 drives and kicks it out, Demidov has already seen Kapanen coming. So he already knows, and then he just gets it, kind of dusts it off, and just fucking lands it. Like, he has already checked his shoulder, fired on his Kits Eyewear, and knew, you know what I mean? Switching up to you already knew where
when I hit you in pregame or in preseason when I hit you with that backhand sauce for the snipe.
Yeah, but
Ryan from Upshaw.
You kind of you checked yourself out in the glass, I think, before you did it. You could have just came forward. Like, I'm yelling, beaver tailing, up dog. And he could have just laid
Got that on Demidov. He didn't look at himself in the mirror.
And I think Updog looked at himself in the glass, said, fuck, I'm looking sharp, and then sauced it, and I put her posted in. So she in front of about 400, not even probably. Was there even 500 people, you think?
No, not even close. No, not at that time.
We were late to the game, Swish. We had the game time wrong. It was fuck. I'm on a PTO. We're late. We're in Starbucks. Frosty's calling us. Where are you guys? We're about to do a team meeting. We're like, the game's not till 6. They're like, no, it's 5 o'clock puck drop. We're like, oh, God.
Oh, I bet the celly was unreal. It was probably one of those vintage hugs where Uppy puts his head to the sky and just starts yelling. I was just celebrating.
We had spikes. It's my contact photo for O'Brien on here. It's great. Yeah, it is. Right.
Nice pass ups. I made that team. Should have made that team. Hey, Swishy, should have made that team.
Yeah, good guy. Eh?
Hey, come on.
I don't need to. Come on, give me a one-way. It's just
league minimum, Dale. Hey,
Dale, what are you doing?
Come on, fella. Fuck you. That was our Kits Eyewear Dish of the Week. Boys, get yourself a Labatt Blue. Brought to you by Labatt. With Labatt, you can buy beer and get gear. Go to their website, snap a photo of your receipt, and upload it to gain points towards exclusive merch. Any size, any product, anywhere you're buying Labatt. Sign up at rewards.labattusa.com.
Oh, man.
Fellas, I'm dishing 3 here, boys. First and foremost, back to the Buffalo Bills. Sorry, Buffalo Bills. Back to the Buffalo Sabres. 14-2. I do want to give the Missin Curfew some credit. Ever since we went in there, they've turned it around. But in all seriousness, I want to give Lindy Ruff. Lindy, get yourself a blue light. I know you love him. Listen, I thought Kevin Adams should have been fired. I thought Lindy should have been promoted to some kind of job where he's, up in the press box and advising, and he's proven me wrong. Listen, they're 14-2. Whatever Lindy's doing, he's pushing all the right buttons, boys. Get yourself a Labatt Blue, Lindy. Up, dog.
Yeah.
Starts with the coach, man. I mean, I thought his better years were behind him, but he's proven me wrong. I'm glad you're doing it, Lindy.
Absolutely. Great interview last night in TNT with Biz. He's, listen, I had him at the World Championships. Guy's guy. That's why he's still in the league. That's why he's still part of the boys club. He took a team that was down and out. They were stomped. There was a stink around Buff. The Bills were doing what they're doing, and unfortunately, no one was really pulling for the Sabres, and now they've turned this thing around, and it's exciting to see, as we just talked about, these young players on their team all fucking chipping in different ways, and Lindy, I like it. Ruff is, he deserves the beers, but
he loves it.
Just don't stop at one, Lindy. Have a couple.
Send him a big fridge like this, eh, Swish?
Yeah, get him. I mean, he probably drinks 12 a night, as a baker's dozen. Yeah,
you sleep better.
Maybe a little whiskey, too, for Lindy, but some Labatts. He's chasing it down with some Labatts.
Shot in a beer. I like that style, eh? Shot in a beer.
Oh, yeah.
Shot, give me a beer. That's what I was doing on Chippewa Street. Fuck, was I?
Shot in a beer. Yeah. First, 2 shots at a beer.
First night I was paying way.
How do you do a Saturday drinking day? You do 2 shots at JMO or JMO with a beer every 20 minutes.
JMO blue light, JMO blue light, JMO blue light, chicken wings blue light, chicken wings blue light. That's kind of how it went, boys. Hey, listen, if they get in the dance, we may have to find our way back to Chippewa Street. So, Lindy, Ruff, get yourself a Labatt Blue, boys. I got 2 more before I turn it over to you. Mark Stone, goals in 8 straight. I personally thought he should have been left off Team Canada, mainly for health reasons. He's been banged up all year. We all know he's got a bit of a wonky back, O'Brien style, Lupul style. Listen, he's got 8 straight goals. He just fought Braden Shen. I think making Team Canada maybe has rejuvenated him here. They're playing better. So Stone, goals in 8 straight. Get yourself a Labatt Blue. And last but not least for me, boys, a good American-born player, Brady Tkachuck, 200 goals. I know he loves a blue light. Fella, lots of goals ahead, but 200 is nothing to sniff at. Up, dog. Brady, get yourself a Labatt Blue. Fella.
200 goals is a legit thing. Who do you got, Schmaltzy?
I'm sliding one, boys, to the East Palestine, Ohio native. That's JT Miller. Now, JT Miller, captain of the New York Strangers right now, going through it. He's banged up.
He's going through it.
Taking interviews on the chin. And he's just fed up with the New York media, rightfully so, and especially how they're playing right now. He's had some great quotes. I don't know what's going on. He's told reporters no shit. I know this guy likes his beers. I used to play with him back in the day, USA Hockey. So JT, number 1, get healthy for the Olympics. And number 2, get yourself about 36 icy Labatt Blues and just go post up somewhere at a dive bar in the West Village. I don't know where you're going to be at, but just get away. Maybe have a solo mission somewhere in the city and just pound a few back. Get back at it. If you got to go to White Plains to practice with Sully, tune him out too. Just get pinned, go to work, and get this thing back on track. So just wanted to shout out JT Miller because I know they're going through it there, and he is just sick of the fucking media coming at him.
Win or lose, hit the booze, JT Miller. And listen, if you're looking for a spot in the West Village, go to Due West. Text Swishy. We'll text Matt Gallon Loops. We'll get him his own little table in the corner. No one will be able to bug him. He can crush blue lights. Listen, they're going through it. Igor's hurt, obviously. Listen, I love the bread man. I think he's going to be traded. I think him coming off the books. And then, listen, I'm not a huge Mika Zibanejad fan for 8.5, but I think when the bread man does leave, that gets you, 11, almost $12 million. Maybe Chris Drury can bring in a different type of player. To me, they're star players, and I'm not putting JT Miller or Troch in this. I'm talking Breadman, Zibanejad, Lafreniere, a little soft for my liking, man. When I watch them play, Swishy, they don't engage enough, in my opinion. They lean on their skill too much, and as we know in the National League, everyone's skilled. So I think the Breadman leaving town, I would love to have him on my team because he can dish, but it might be a good thing for the Rangers moving forward and Chris Drury.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think you're talking about a lot of perimeter players they have right now, right? It's just they don't have a ton that'll go to the net, go to the paint in terms of real gritty star players. Now, you do have Tkachuck and JT Miller, but those guys are playing down the lineup now. They're a little bit older, and they're not going to be the star-studded cast you need in New York City. So if Brett does come off the books, I don't know how much longer Zabinajad has on his deal, but you're going to ultimately need more from Alexei Lafreniere.
Yes.
I don't know how you get that. I don't know how you get that kid going. I don't know how you light a fire under his ass, but just getting back to the basics of competing nightly is where I would start with that, because I even watched him play, a couple weeks ago when they were playing the Utah Mammoth. Just don't love his compete. I mean, he relies on power play scoring, if at all, and it's just he doesn't play, like assertive brand of hockey. And for a first overall pick, that's a big hole there, Opes.
Yeah, and listen, I had Sully. Listen, Sully's got his cups and he's established. I didn't know if that was the right hire. Like, I would have brought in maybe someone younger with some new energy. I'm not putting it all on Sully here, but I don't think they're as far away as they've been playing right now, obviously with Igor out. But like Swishy said, JT Miller, win or lose, hit the booze, get yourself a Labatt Blue. Up, dog, you're dishing what?
Well, I'm going to go, this is a little from left field. I'm going to give a beer to Kyle Okposo, who's taken over the new role for the NHLPA in the marketing department, and he's doing a great job. And what was announced this week, fellas, is a new partnership with Upper Deck, who are going to get back to doing the NHL rookie debut jerseys. Boys, I say this because as a rookie, when I was a rookie, that first jersey you ever wore, how cool it was. They're going to celebrate this with a new, rookie patch jersey collection, which is going to come out this summer in the new extended series. So shout out to Okposo for doing good things for the NHLPA. Get yourself a Labatt Light. And Upper Deck, these kids having these epic rookie cards, and for the collectors that like to collect them, it's just awesome. And we'll be looking forward to cracking those boxes at some point. And the two kids you're going to look for with these jersey patch cards, of these first-worn jerseys, is Demidov and Schaefer. I mean, these two kids are a stud, and I just think it's awesome, Schmaltzy, that they're doing this and bringing back, the authenticity of rookie jerseys, the first one you ever wore, in a collectible cart.
Yeah, and Okposo is a gentleman and a scholar. I believe he spent 2 years at the University of Minnesota. So it's cool to see former players. We've even touched on Shaddy, working with the PA now as well. And Schaefer, I want to say, boys, pretty sick. He just signed with No Bull, which is Tom Brady's company. That's National League. Brady was like, I want one guy in the NHL.
Yeah.
This Matthew Schaefer kid. He's got that eye of the tiger, like I had coming into the league. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, did that all come together after the clip of Brady at the Winter Classic saying that, or was that just?
Yep.
Yeah, right. Because it seemed to be authentic with Brady's clip about that, and then I didn't know that he signed him, but that's amazing.
Yeah, so basically he threw that out there, obviously shot at the young kid, and then they FaceTimed, I believe, and there was a deal like 48 hours later.
Sweet. They did a little clip with Tom Brady about the slang of hockey.
Yeah,
he did pretty good.
Did he?
Did pretty good. Like he knew.
Well, Domi's had him out on the ice ripping around.
He did pretty good. He did pretty good. I'll tell you what, if they had my rookie jersey there, you might have to. It just smelled like a goddamn brewery. I was out in Newport every goddamn.
That would be the item everyone would want to.
Oh man, we were out every night. Me, pens and pears, every fucking night.
Can you imagine your patch and someone having the O, the apostrophe, and the B, OB on a rookie card for you? It would be epic.
Stinky. Hey,
open that box of cards and it just smells like a Labatt.
Yeah, look at these cards that are coming out. Look at these cards. These are sick. So these will be, 1 of 48. I take it that's his number. These are going to be sexy cards, boys.
Swishy, how about the guy on X that tracked down my little rookie card there, 74 in the old eggplant and teal? You see that on X?
Oh yeah, it was hilarious. And I went on your Hockey DB, and you had like 300 hymns the one year. I was like, oh my god.
So you're like,
Jesus Christ.
You're like chin over shin. Look at Holmes. He's got his chin over his shin and his chin tucked or something.
Schmaltzy, what's your rookie card look like?
It's one of those, actually. I had I had a couple. I had a deal with Upper Deck, so I had a few of those like jersey ones, and then I just had like a Futures Watch pick. But there was a few out there with the jerseys on there. I would always write like encrypted messages on there, right? Like, you never get there by laying up or choke and poke.
You're great at that stuff.
Dude, that's so key. I wish back in the day signing those cards when we used to do the autograph signing, like knowing that that's just how cool, like, making one of ones could be. I love the fact that you do that, like Jay Swish under this one.
Right? Ours aren't worth fuck all, though.
No, it doesn't matter what they're worth, but they're great to have.
Hey, Kyle, remember the old Young Guns rookie cards? Pull up Young Guns.
They still got the Young Guns. Yeah, you want the Young Guns.
Put Young Guns, Shane O'Brien. Let's see if that comes up. It was a decent card. fucking decent card here. No visor.
And then
there it is.
find
right
it
there.
on eBay and order us a couple.
Swishy, look.
Some 10 graded PSAs.
Swishy, I'm leaning on it here. There it is.
That's a good card, fella.
$300.09. Not that's more than I thought it would be worth.
You're tucked there too. Look at your chin is not over your shin.
It's not.
It's
no
not,
one's
isn't
hitting
it?
you there.
No.
No one's hitting you there. No.
Dollar.
Good positioning.
No. But
I'll go down, Kyle. Go down. $4.99. Okay.
let's buy the whole stack. The whole stack. Keep them.
I can't believe they're even worth $4. I thought
Are you kidding me?
I thought my card would be worth like 99 cents or something, and throw in a shot of whiskey with it. or
Because
something.
as Gretz said, you weren't that good.
You weren't that. You weren't that good. Up dog, $6, $7.
Oh, see, there's my young guns.
$18 signed.
There it is.
$18, bud.
Yeah, don't worry. I've been down the rabbit.
$139. What's that? Whoa.
Pacific Treasury. Actually, what is that?
Fucking 140 bones, bud.
What's that? A sign?
AHL rookie card.
I might have to call this guy. He had that
40. How long's that been on eBay for? Hey, been on sale for fucking a while.
Wow, that was number 22. That was when I first came.
It's not even
Are you
signed.
tongues out there?
You?
Wow, is that tongues out?
That's not even you.
Dude, that was when I stepped up from junior into my first playoffs.
You?
Yeah, that was my first playoff run. We went to Houston and we played the Houston Aeros. And look at that, left wing Milwaukee Admirals. Not a
You got
sniff.
tongues out there, up dog?
I you know what? I was probably changing it up. I didn't score in the first two games of the playoffs. I said, "Fuck, I gotta switch it up." I'm going tongues out and white tape.
Oh, white tape was the best. $140, buddy. There you go.
I'll be calling that guy trying to get a deal.
Show your son better.
101 though, 101. See, that's why. I mean,
We had
Upper Deck though, great job. I love what Upper Deck's doing, boys.
$140 up, dog. The old Milwaukee Admirals. Boys, always drink responsibly. Speaking of a guy I would love to have an ice cold Labatt Blue with, we got former NHL coach and will be behind the bench sooner than later. Associated coach for Team Canada at the Winter Olympics coming up. Pete Deboer coming at you next here at Missin Curfew. Coach Pete Deboer. Coach Pete, good seeing you, buddy. Thanks for taking the time to come to Missin Curfew. We've been looking forward to having you on, buddy. Good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Obi. I'm right now in Canada and waiting to leave for the Olympics at the end of the month. So that's kind of my next big event. Just got through the holidays and, excited to be actually getting my hands dug into some hockey here when we get to Milan in February.
So when you say back home, you're a Western Ontario boy, correct?
I am. Well, I'm actually right now I'm in Bayfield, Ontario. That's my cottage, which is like Grand Bend, between London and Windsor area. But played junior in Windsor, grew up in Southern Ontario. So that's my area and neck of the woods.
Yeah. Pete made a little cameo at Ryan O'Reilly's Stanley Cup party. Oh, yeah. I was just like a thought. So I looked over. I'm like, I think that's Pete Deboer. I'm going to go over and say hi to him.
I guarantee he didn't touch the cup like you did. Oh, idiot. Did you not grab it? Because O'Reilly gave you the cup, did he not? And say, have a shot of this out of it? And you said, okay, fuck it.
All party, I tried to stay clear of it, right, Pete? Because obviously, I was still, I don't even think I was still in the league, though. So I wasn't in the league. So I gave him a bottle of Blue Label, Pete. This is kind of when the party's kind of winding down and we're inside. He pours the Blue Label in the cup, and I'm like, I can't say no to that. I'm like, come on, buddy. I'm like, let her go. So yeah, I did take a good pull of the Blue Label. It happens. I wasn't turning Blue Label.
He did that party in style, like typical Ryan O'Reilly. If you know the O'Reilly family, the small town they're from, he did it right. It was outdoor at his parents' house, and at a band. It was a great event. I actually got to know the O'Reillys when I coached in Kitchener. I bought a cottage in that area, and I've gone there every summer since I coached junior hockey, and ended up running a lot of the summer skates for all those guys up there, Joey Hishin and Ryan O'Reilly and Cal O'Reilly, and there's a good group of players up in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, his dad's a beauty, Coach Bry. He used to come, he used to out of Denver and be like, he's all about like mental stuff, and right? He's like, Obi, if I say
To help you out.
yeah, he goes, if I say pink elephant, what do you think of? I'm like, pink elephant. He's like, exactly.
You're like, it sounds like a strip club, but I think of big elephants. Yeah, that's great.
I wish. It's too bad he didn't get his hands on you when you were 17.
I should have just moved in with Colts Bry. I should have just moved right in. They had enough room for me too. I could have found a bed in there. They were
Pete, have you taken up any new winter activities up like on the lake? You spend summers there now, but now you got the winter off. Are you ice fishing? Are you on a snowmobile? Anything like?
Yeah.
Anything?
You know what? I got some buddies up here, local guys that have talked to me about the snowmobiling, but we haven't had a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, you need quite a bit for that. Our area of southern Ontario doesn't get as much as north of Toronto, where they're going all the time. So a lot of these guys, they trailer their snowmobiles up into that area. I'm not that committed yet. If it snows enough, I'll hop on one. The ice fishing, no, I'm a summer fisherman when it's 90 and sunny. Other than that, I'm not interested. I've actually been surprisingly busy. My parents still live in Windsor. So I for the first time in 17 years of coaching in the NHL, I've got a chance to go and spend some real time with them, and they've had some health issues. My son's playing his senior year in college hockey. I haven't seen him play live hardly at all over the last 10, 12 years, and so I've been to a bunch of his games. So just trying to catch up on stuff that the NHL life, the things that you drop.
Yeah, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
That's a blessing. Right
Yeah, Pete, you kind of teed me up because I was curious. You kind of answered it there, but when did it maybe hit you? Was it training camp? When you didn't have to report there? Was it through the summers when you weren't maybe dealing with new players or talking to your management and your coaches? When did it kind of sink in that, okay, I could take a little step away here, kind of recharge and focus on the stuff you just mentioned?
Yeah. You know what, Obi? I didn't miss training camp at all. Not even a little bit. Probably a lot like you.
We don't either. Yeah,
same as you. But I tell you, when it hit me was when the puck dropped on the regular season. It was the first time in 17 years in the NHL and probably another 15 in junior where I hadn't been, somewhere to start a season. So. It gets in your blood. You're used to, your body kind of gets used to that rhythm at the season starting and the juices start flowing. So it hit me there. I was really fortunate. Doug Armstrong and the management group brought me in with their Olympic staff right away, including Ryan Getzlav, who I know you know.
Yeah.
And really wanted me watching players, scouting, evaluating for the Olympics right from day one. So that kept me involved in hockey, not from a coaching perspective, more from a scouting evaluation perspective. But I got my fix that way.
Pete, I wanted to ask you, last year I spent some time around my former coach, Dave Hackstall. He was kind of in a similar situation with you, with a little bit of paid time off, if you will. And it was the most relaxed I'd ever seen Hack in my life. He was smiling a lot more. He came down to Arizona. We watched UND play Arizona State. So while you're still keeping up with being busy, watching a ton of games, are you able to exhale, or you kind of get anxious to get behind a bench again? What's the feeling in that way in terms of, that hunger to get back in the league?
Yeah. You know what? That's a great perspective. I think you're both. I think you're definitely more relaxed and recharged. You don't have the weight of that pressure sitting on your shoulders on a daily basis that coaches carry around, especially at that level. And until you get out from under it, you don't even realize, you just manage it. You just deal with it. And, it's, like I said, it's the first time I've been out from under it in a long time. And you realize that it's impossible for it not to wear on you. On the other side, you're wired that, you want to go again. You're rested, you're refreshed, and, you're ready to jump back in again and get your hands on a team.
Well, you're still pushing all the right buttons from the outside, because you were nice enough to send Chief a little note in Toronto. And ever since you sent him that note, they've seemed to get on a little bit of a tear. So you're even pushing the right buttons from loving the college life, fella. But in all seriousness, I thought that was a classy play by you. The hockey community is such a close community. And when you did that, Pete, I only know you a little bit. I just thought, man, that's classy, because as we all know, or can imagine, I guess, coaching in Toronto, there's already a lot of pressure. So that was pretty cool. You did that and seemed to help Chief, because the boys are buzzing now, and I got money on them, so I like it too.
Yeah. the Leafs are buzzing. You know what, Obi, I did that. I don't know actually how it got out that I did, because I wasn't, obviously it wasn't a public kind of thing. It was more. I was talking with Rick Tocchet, who's on our Olympic staff, and him and Chief are really tight. And I just wanted to make sure that he knew, because I've been there. I've been there where your job's on the line and you're reading about it every day, and you're not sleeping at night, and you're trying to get your team on track without getting distracted and dealing with a lot of unsubstantiated reports and things like that. So I just felt like, listen, if I was in that spot and I could help him, hopefully he'll pay it forward one day with somebody else, because this job's tough enough, and you have enough sleepless nights without getting a little bit of a heads up when it's owed to you.
Well said.
Pete, you kind of tagged it a little bit, talking about, as you're watching the games, you're kind of, you're evaluating. I guess my question would be, do you watch it a little different from home, with a beer and a cigar, like on the lake, now that you're watching?
Oh, wait, Uppy watches it.
Yeah, there. But yeah, now that I don't play, even when I did play it, no, but is your lens a little different from your current seat? And then is it, and coming back, we all know your accolades, and you as a coach and as a person, and that there's no question you're up top of the list for a team. But are you watching it through a different lens now from where you are? And the second question is, like, does the team need to make sense for you in all situations, for your family, for where you currently are in life, for what opportunity might be there for you in the future?
Yeah, great questions. On the first one, I don't know. When I was coaching, we watched a lot of hockey with a beer in our hand on the plane, going to the next spot. So I'm not sure that's changed much, but that definitely a different lens. I said it's the first time I've actually, because we've been evaluating for this Olympic team, I've been watching games where I'm watching specific players, their entire shift, as opposed to, as a coach, looking for systems, who you're playing, that's tendencies, things like that. So it's definitely a different lens, and it does give you better perspective. I think the level of play in the league the first half of the year, because of the Olympics, of the elite players, was unbelievable. Everyone wants to be on that team. A lot of young guys made huge statements trying to earn spots on that team. So, the guys I was zeroing in on that were all part of those conversations, it really brings your love for hockey back, because you're watching the best of the best, and they're so good. And there's such a fine line between all of them. So definitely different perspective. On the coaching again, I think when you step out of it, you realize what a privilege it is to work in that league. Just like as a player, when he steps away, he realizes what a privilege it is to play in that league. And in the position I'm in, there's only 32 of those jobs. So, and I've always said I took a New Jersey Devils the Stanley Cup final. We were a 7 seed and got beat by an 8 seed in the Stanley Cup, which was the LA Kings that year with Daryl Sutter. And then in San Jose, I took a team to the Stanley Cup finals. We were a 6 seed. So, I think, when you say, there's only so many teams that can win, I don't think that number's 2 or 3. I think if you can get a team in the playoffs, I think you have a legitimate chance to win. And that list of teams that actually can get in the playoffs is a lot longer than people think.
Well said.
Yeah, and Pete, you've had a lot of deep runs over the years, obviously in San Jose, Vegas, Dallas, but you teed me up right for my next question was 2011, 2012, that New Jersey Devils team. Do you think, you've probably had a lot of proud coaching moments over the years, but that team making the finals, how close you guys were to winning the mug, was that one of your proudest coaching moments in terms of just like a cohesive group and every guy playing for each other? Because if you look at it, you had great players, but, I would say, you guys, again, were a 7 seed. So was that like a run that you'll always remember?
I'll always remember. And you know what? My path to New Jersey, I came right out of junior hockey, took the Florida Panthers job, and we kind of we had a lot going on my first 3 years in the league in Florida. I was the youngest coach in the league. We had 3 different ownership groups. We had 3 different GMs. So it was a really tough experience on a young coach. And I got a call that summer that I got fired from Lou Lamoriello. And you know what? He hired me, and I absolutely would not have coached the next 12, 15 years in the NHL unless Lou makes that call and I work for the New Jersey Devils. I needed some structure at that point. I needed some stability. I needed a guy like Lou that when you're working for him really takes care of everything. You just worry about coaching. So he was phenomenal. And the other thing about Lou, he knows how to build a team. He knows what wins in the playoffs. And we didn't have a lot of stars. Zach Parise and Ilya Kovalchuk were our 2 big dogs. On defense, we had a bunch of grinders, Volchenkov, Bryce Salvador, Andy Green, Mark Fain, not a lot of household names, but those guys played their ass off every night and played, within our kind of system. It was a really rewarding year. And, if I don't end up in that spot, I have no doubt, I don't know where my career path would have gone. But, what I do remember about that year was also I got a chance. I didn't get a chance to pick my coaching staff. Lou hired me, and he basically said, I've got 2 assistant coaches in place, and it was Larry Robinson and Adam Oates. And, that was also a big blessing for me because, Larry was absolutely legendary as a person and a coach and a player. And Oates's one of the smartest guys in the game. So, it was one of those crossroads moments where a lot of things came together to give me a chance to coach. And that Devils run, I had never been part of a Devils Rangers rivalry. We beat the Rangers in the conference finals to go to the finals. We won the first round. People don't realize this in 7 games against Florida, my old team, in double overtime.
Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah. Jose, just close your 5-hole, please.
Yeah. Well, we lost. We lost. We won. We had to win game 6 in New Jersey, an elimination game, 1 in overtime, Travis Zajac, and then had to go down to Florida and win that game in double overtime. That was Adam Henrique. Then we kind of blew through Philadelphia in the next round, and then we had the big Ranger Devil rivalry. And you know what? I don't even know what to liken it to. Probably in junior it'd be like Kitchener, London. At the NHL level, I don't know if when you get 2 teams in New York playing like that, the fans are so passionate, and the town I lived in literally was half Ranger fans, half Devil fans. There was fist fights at the game. It was fantastic.
Yeah, no, you brought me down a bad memory lane there because all we're thinking, we're going back to Florida for game 6, and and it was a great series. All the games were tight. I do want to recall that Jay Bo, Stephen Weiss, like they loved you as a coach, and they knew kind of the hardship that the team had gone through that 3 years you were there. And I just remember thinking, man, these guys, double overtime, and then they make their way to the finals. That's just how tight hockey is. And as you well know, it's runs like that build momentum for your career, not only as a player, but as a coach, as you just said.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. And you know what? And I ended up moving on to San Jose after that. And we ended up bringing some guys from that team on our San Jose run. Danis Zubris, we traded for. He had been part of that Devils team. So, you remember what guys do for you on those deep runs. And those are a lot of the times the kind of guys you're banging the table for at the deadline. Hey, I know what this guy can help us in the playoffs. Let's go get this guy.
Yeah. I want to go back a little bit, buddy. You talked about being a young coach in the NHL. You were a young coach in general. And then I believe you had 13 years in the Ontario Hockey League where you won 2 championships there. I guess, what was it like being a young coach in the Ontario League? And why did you stay so long in the Ontario League? Did you not think you were quite ready yet because of your age, or you just liked Kitch that much and you guys were pretty dominant back then?
Yeah. Great question. I mean, I got into coaching almost accidentally. I stopped playing. I was in the minors, and I got into law school. Kind of a summer, my contract was up. They weren't offering me much to go back. I was in Vancouver's farm system playing on their American League team in Milwaukee at the time. And I got into law school the same summer all that was going on. So I kind of chose my path and said, you know what, I've done the minors for a few years here. This is, I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. It was a once in a lifetime chance to go back to school. So I took it and I moved back in with my junior teammate and captain, Paul Maurice, who we had played together for 4 years in Windsor, and he was coaching. And just so happened, he was the youngest head coach in the OHL, needed an assistant coach the same year I came back and asked me if I'd chip in. And I remember I didn't even get paid. Jimmy Rutherford was our general manager. He paid my tuition at school in order to help coach. And so that was where, again, when you look back at a hockey career, there's a lot of things that have to go right for you, a lot of people that help you along the way, a lot of right place, right time. That was one of those. And I fell in love with the coaching. CompuWare and Jimmy Rutherford bought the Hartford Whalers, promoted Paul as the youngest head coach in the NHL at the time, he was 27 years old, which was almost unheard of. When you think about that, what you were doing at 27, I mean, he was walking into a Hartford Whaler dressing room with players 10 years older than him. He never played pro hockey. It was it was incredible that he was able to go in there and do that and survive. I replaced him. And I'll be honest with you, Obi, I loved junior hockey. I loved it. I wasn't in a rush to leave. I had some opportunities to go to the American League over the years while I was coaching junior, but I loved the fact that age group, the difference you could make in those players' lives. And to this day, it's not necessarily the guys that went on to play in the NHL. I mean, a lot of my players are police officers or doctors or construction workers with families now that stay in touch. I mean, it's such a great age to work with players because everyone's pulling in the same direction. Money's not an object yet. So bottom line is my situation was great. I loved the level, and I didn't even think about leaving unless I could go right to the NHL like Paul did.
Yeah.
And that chance finally came in 2008 after the Memorial Cup.
Yeah, Pete, I just want to ask you about a guy that did make the NHL for his teams. You played with him in Philly. I played against him. He won his cup in LA. Mike Richards, I remember playing junior against him, and just, you could see it even when we were young playing against him that when he got to the next level, he was going to do things he did. What was it like being around Richie as a young kid and mentoring him and kind of help him? Or did you know right from day one that this kid was kind of special?
Yeah, funny story. I remember I never saw Richie play in his draft year. And we took him in the first round. We relied on our scouts to do that. And I remember coming to training camp, and I saw this kid. He was probably 5'10", about 165 pounds, ugly skater. And I remember vividly sitting in our scouting room after 2 days of camp going, oh my God, did we screw this up? Because we picked in that draft, that was a big time draft. Anthony Stewart was in that draft. If you look back at that draft, there was a long list of really high end players. And my scout that had watched him all year said, just wait till the puck drops on a real game. Just wait. And that's exactly what he was. He was such a gamer. He was one of those rare guys that, as a coach, as you were thinking it on the bench, he was doing it. We need a fight here. I'm thinking on the bench, yeah. Richie's dropping the gloves, fighting someone. We need a hit here. We need to win this face-off. He's doing it. I mean, he did it all. He's such a hockey IQ, such a competitor. I just love the guy. And you know what? His family was great. His dad was a truck driver. His mom was a school teacher. And she used to drive down on the weekends to watch us play in Kitchener from his hometown. And honest to God, I think it's a 15-16 hour drive each way. Yeah. So it's
Thunder Bay.
Yeah, from Kenoi at least. Yeah. So I mean, just a fantastic family and kid, and I also got to coach a World Junior team with him. He was our captain with Brent Sutter in North Dakota when we won gold, and on a star-studded team. And he wore the C for us there, which showed you. I mean, that was a team with Sidney Crosby and Getzlav and Perry and Bergeron. He had great leadership and a great presence to him when he put the uniform on and the puck dropped in a game.
Yeah, Pete, you talk about that. I just want to stay with Richie for a sec. Bobby Clark and Paul Holmgren, they saw that in him too. Like as soon as he came to the Philadelphia Flyers as a 18, 19-year-old kid, I think they started off in the minors and ended up winning. They won a championship with Johnny Stevens. Fast forward, Hitch leaves his first year there. I got traded, and I'm thinking, fuck, these kids are good. Like, they show up every night. They already have the fans behind them. And in Philly, that's not easy to do. But,
yeah.
To see Bobby Clark and Homer give Richie the C shortly thereafter, I think he was a 21-year-old captain, and signed him to a 10-year deal. You just knew, like, this is the right guy. He's a great person. He knows when to speak up. He's not shy, but he's very calm and very tame. And, and that's a lot of accolade. And I just want to go back to your comment about the junior kids specifically and how you can change, the course of their life with some, good mentorship and stuff. Like Robert Bertuzzo, for example, whenever we'd play you, he'd be like, man, I love Pete. I'd see you two shooting the shit. And like guys like Bobo are one of one human beings, but it's nice that you're able to affect these guys to, 10 years, 20 years later, they're coming up to you and shooting the shit. And those memories are good.
Yeah, I got, there's a great name for young kids out there playing hockey. Robert Bertuzzo was a skilled offensive defenseman. We traded for him as a young kid. There's a kid that he wanted to play in the NHL so badly, he was not going to be denied. And, he found a way to do it, and he had to fight, he had to scrap and play physical and do a lot of stuff outside his comfort zone, because he's one of the nicest people on the face of the earth. He willed himself to an unbelievable NHL career. So much respect for a guy like that.
Pete, I want to talk about, now you get to San Jose and you're around a bunch of different legendary players. The one that sticks out to me, and my brother actually bought his full place in Madison, Wisconsin, right on Lake Wabeesa, is the pride of Plover, Wisconsin, humble Joe Pavelski. Now, one of my favorite players, obviously dating back to his Waterloo Blackhawks days. We drive down to Madison, watch him play at the Kohl Center through his 2 years at Wisconsin. But in terms of just like the smartest players you've ever been around, I mean, that guy's computer was insane. Not the best skater, didn't have the best shot, but the hand-eye coordination, he just knew where to be at all times. I just loved watching him get it done on the ice. And you obviously saw him up close and personal for many years, not only in San Jose, but in Dallas. Is he one of your favorite players you've ever coached?
Oh, right up there at the top of that list. And a lot of similarities to Mike Richards. I mean, not the drop the gloves physicality, although Joe, if you pushed him too hard, he had no problem doing that either. But just those intangibles that make great players, he had all of them. It's funny that San Jose stop for me. So, as much as I needed Lou, and when I went to New Jersey and that structure, I left New Jersey and I walked into San Jose, and I mean, the New Jersey structure was right out the window. Jumbo and Bernsey had beards down to their waists. The card games on the plane. I mean, that was the most fun group of players that I've ever coached, and totally a 180 from where I had been, and also it made me kind of fall back in love with the game again. They had so much fun. They worked so hard as a group, and Pav was the captain of that group, but we also had Joe Thornton and Patty Marleau in that dressing room, who are both former captains, and Brent Burns. But they played hard and they worked hard and they enjoyed the game. And it's not a surprise when you look at that list of guys, how many games they've played in the NHL. Burnsy's still going.
Yeah, he's playing great.
Jumbo played into his 40s. Pav played till he was 40. Patty Marleau played till he was 40 plus. So I just feel like, again, time and place, so fortunate. And Pab was the youngest of that group, but was the captain. But Pab would tell you, he learned from those guys before him. And, we had a lot of fun with that group. I remember we went to the Stanley Cup finals, and we were in Pittsburgh in mid-June. It was probably 75, 80 degrees on an off day. And they had a picture on the front page of the Pittsburgh paper of Burnsy and Jumbo walking downtown Pittsburgh with their shirts off, just jeans on. Middle of the day, just going for a stroll, right downtown Pittsburgh. But those guys really did it right. And, I think, again, for young players, there's some lessons in there about making sure you enjoy the game and enjoy the ride, because I find sometimes these kids are wired so tight that they never get to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, you could tell playing against you guys how much fun you were having there. But I'll tell you what wasn't fun back in the day, Pete, and it's starting to get a little bite back now, but the old Shark Tank back in the day, Pete. I mean, I remember one night we came in there with Vancouver. We're having a pretty good year. We're like, all right, boys, let's see how we measure up here tonight. Fuck, it was 4-0 after the first, I think. But, like, being the head coach there and going to the final with them, like, you guys could feel that home ice advantage back in the day at the Tank, right? Like, it was not a fun place to go into. Everyone was on you. The fans were, it was crazy.
Amazing atmosphere. And I remember coming in there with Jersey and Florida, and the message always from every coach that went in there was, hey, we need to survive the first 10 minutes there, because I mean the roof blew off that place when they did the anthem and they skated out of the Shark Head, and usually they were up 2 or 3-0 if you weren't ready to play. So they had some really talented teams too, but it was a great city. And it's tough to see that building. When I went back after I left there with Vegas and Dallas, half empty, because how great a rink that was. But you're right, they are bringing it back, and this Celebrini kid is really, really special. And I think he's definitely leading the charge.
Hey, Pete, before I turn over ups, I'll tell you what, I had a little what happened moment. I was going in there playing the minor leagues when they had the Barracudas in the Shark Tank, and I came out, there was about 75 people in there. I was like, what happened here? What? Maybe I did make a couple mistakes along the way here. Fuck it.
No, I have a personal, my first playoff game ever in 04-05 with Nashville. We went in there, we got our butts kicked in the playoffs, but I was just like, Nashville had great fans, and now arguably their atmosphere in the playoffs is up there top 5. But that building, the roof would come off, and then playing you guys conference finals in St. Louis, I sat out one game. I had a broken hand, and the pregame atmosphere, everyone had these little bands on their hands that lit up like teal.
Yeah.
And it was a party like I've never seen. And I'm up in the skybox just going like, holy shit. Like you could feel the roof come off. It was the loudest building I've ever been part of. But yeah.
Had a few minuses in there, Pete.
Yeah,
had a few
totally.
minuses. Was that my guy, or who had Jumbo back door there? Who was that?
And Pete, we talked about this the other day on our show, but like you used to come through that Western Road swing and have to play the Ducks, the Kings, and then you guys. It was never like hey, we're going to get a day off on the beach. It was just like, how do we just manage to get 2 out of these 6 points? Like a couple ties would take. Like it was a hard Western swing where you couldn't enjoy yourself. And your coach would be like, hey, you fucks. Like, we got to, these guys are good here. We got to come in and.
Yeah. And then you got to stop in Hollywood through that swing too, Pete? So you're like, well, this is going to be really stingy too after a night out in Hollywood.
I'll tell you, and you guys know, but I mean, those LA Kings teams in those days, they took a chunk. They took a chunk out of you physically too. I mean, they had some big, heavy, stinky defensemen there that really played hard.
Yeah, and you knew if they got 3 on you, then you guys would probably do like, okay, they didn't give up. Hey, Quickie's in there kicking. You're like, all right, we're going to lose 3-1 here, but you want to go?
Yeah, I'd just like to, Pete, this is a record. I mean, it's arguably one of the best records in sports. You're 9-0 in Game 7s. You've made 6 straight conference finals. Which is amazing. I think you might steal the Mr. Game 7 away from there,
Willie. Yeah, I think you deserve it.
But in your mind, and this might be a personal question, and answer it how you want to, but like, now that you've been through those moments, going into the finals or game sevens, do you in your head go like, I stick to the Pete Deboer coaching style that I've always done, that has got me here? Or if you ever got to those moments again in the finals, do you switch anything up, or have you always been just like, you know what, I follow my team, how my team's vibing, the other team, or would you like switch things up at all, or have you stuck to the same Pete Deboer tactics?
Yeah, it's a great question, Uppy. I think when you go on those runs, every run's different and every team's different, and you build an identity through the year of what you're good at and what makes you successful. And I've just never believed that, what allowed us to beat you in St. Louis in the conference final, do you want to change that when you go up against Pittsburgh in the final? I've always believed, listen, you can tweak some things. You've got to look at some things differently, a different team, but you start making major changes to your system. I think your players in the room are going, hey, this was good enough to beat the St. Louis Blues. You get to the end there, those four teams, I mean, the margins are razor thin. There's not a lot of difference between them. So, I've always kind of believed with going with what got you there. But now, listen, in hindsight, when you don't win, there's always things you do differently. Would you try different line combinations? Would you try a different power play unit? Would you start a different goalie? I mean, all those things come up in hindsight. But you've got to be careful with that too, because you got there making decisions on instinct, and they're not always right. And when they're right, you take the pats on the back, and when they're wrong, you got to accept the consequences.
Yeah, Pete, you kind of teed me up. Like, you've been in the conference finals, 6 of the last 7 years here with Vegas and then Dallas. Like, what is it like when, obviously the last couple of years, Edmonton and Draisaitl, McDavid doing their thing, but when you're that close and the season's over and you sit down with your GM and your coaches and you look around, you're like, fuck, boys, we're right there. Like, what do we need? Like, how frustrating that is, or how difficult is it to be like, I know it's a bounce here, a bounce there, but when your team is that close, you're like, what do we need just to get over the hump? Are those some conversations you have where maybe the answers are tough, or you're trying to find the answer, I guess is what I'm asking?
Yeah. I mean, you spend your whole summer, every coach other than the guy who wins spends his whole summer wondering what are the things that we need to do differently next year to take that next step, and in my case, that next step has been conference finals to finals. I have been to the finals a couple times, and then it was finals to winning it. I think, again, I think human nature is to beat yourself up, over every situation. What could we have done differently? What do we have to do? I think you've got to do, when a season ends, I can only tell you my process with our staff is, we take a break and get the emotion out of it. And then we do an autopsy of the season. What worked, what didn't, how do we get better? Little things like that. Some of those things you don't control as a coach. You don't control who gets signed or the salary cap or who gets traded for. So a lot of times that's waiting for training camp and seeing what your group is and trying to make the most and build an identity with the guys that you have there. But they're not easy summers when you don't win. But it's still such a great game. And I'll tell you, even though we didn't win, I wouldn't trade any of those runs for anything. I mean, the great memories I have of those game 7 wins, the conference final wins, the first round against Colorado, game 7 in Dallas last year when we beat Colorado without Miro Heiskanen and Jason Robertson in the lineup, against basically Colorado's team this year, which I think is the best in hockey. There's so many great memories along those runs too that you got to remind yourself of those things too.
Yeah, summer's a little bit easier when you just miss the playoffs completely. You're not beating yourself up over it. You're like, hey boys, let's just put that one in the garbage can here. Yeah. All right, everyone have a good summer. We'll see you in September here. Like, it's like, don't let it fucking bug you, boys.
You're talking to a guy that doesn't really know that feeling. Yeah, he doesn't know that feeling.
I've been following Pete. I'm thinking, God, you're getting the conference finals. Like, you're that close. A bounce here, a bounce there. It's just like you said it well. It's the way it goes.
I was coach GM in the OHL, and Obi was a 19-year-old playing in Kingston, and they put him available for trade. So all the contenders in the league were looking to trade for him, and I really wanted him. I'd seen him play in Port Hope as a young guy, and really liked him. Followed his career. Again, another guy willing to do just about everything. More skill than people know or saw at the pro level, we put a really good offer into Mav, but I don't think he wanted to trade him to us. So I think he ended up going to St. Mike's and played for Davy Cameron and the late great Bob Jones, who's sorely missed.
Yeah. Yeah. And you guys ended up winning it that year. We lost Ottawa in the conference finals. So fuck, Mav.
Yeah.
Mav should have traded me to
What
Kitchener.
could have
Hey,
been?
come on, Mav.
I don't know if you're ready for that shakeup of the dressing room. He came in and took over the music.
Pete would have been good for me because I went from Larry Maverty, who was old school smoking darts on the bus, to like Dave Cameron, who was like new age, yelling and screaming. Like Pete would have been nice in the middle just to eat. I went to Coach Cameron. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? He's screaming and yelling. And I'm like, Mav would just sit back and smoke darts and be like, boys, we got to work on the power play here. I'm like,
you got a light.
Great Larry Mavety story. I mean, we just lost Dave Branch, who's one of my favorite hockey people of all time. Great Larry Mavety story. I heard that, they put his banner up in the Kingston rink and honored him, and he walked out to center ice in his cowboy boots, grabbed the mic, said thanks, and then walked off.
Oh yeah, that was him. Hey, Pete, before I turn it over to Swish, last thing on Mav. So I get to camp, right, and I'm like, I've never really worked out or anything, right? I'm just like worried about the fitness testing. I'm like, so you got any questions, kid? I'm like, yeah, I got one question, Mav. I'm like, is there going to be a running test at camp? He's like, I've never seen one run across the ice, kid. I'm like, you're my type of coach, fella.
That's right. We've lost a lot of great hockey people in the last few years. Like I said, including Dave Branch, who ran the CHL for 40 years, and was a real. I've talked about this. Was a real proponent of players, and he was ahead of his time in protecting you guys as players. He put in visors, fighting rules, education packages, all kinds of things that weren't there before. And he also was a man's man. You got time for a quick story?
Yeah,
my Dave Branch story. I love this, but his funeral's next week, and I'm thinking more and more about all the time I got to spend with him. But I had a young guy in Kitchener who was a little bit nuts, and we went up to the Sioux. He was a really tough player. Kid gets in a fight. As they break it up, he manhandles a linesman. As he's skating off the ice, I won't even tell you what he did, but he basically took his stick and gave it to the fans. Kind of you guys can imagine what went on. As he's skating out the Zamboni door, the goalie at the other end said something to him. He stopped. He punched him. They got him off the ice. We get back. We get him on the bus. We get him home, and I know he's getting suspended like forever. It was about four egregious things. Like, it was right on a slap shot. Anyway, we're in a conference room. It's me, him, Steve Spott, and we're kind of prepping him. Be ready. Dave's gonna come at you. And the only advice I said to him, don't lie, because Dave, didn't like lying. So Dave goes, I'm gonna read the referee's report, and he goes through it. You got in a fight, you manhandled a linesman, you made a sexual innuendo to the fans on the way out, you punched the goalie. Goes through this whole list of 12, and he goes, do you have anything to say to that, John? And the kid goes, no, that pretty much sums it up, Dave. And I heard Dave start to laugh, and then this line went dead. And I heard after Dave called back, ended up going really light on the kid, gave him like half what he should have. And I heard after, he appreciated the honesty. Like, the kid didn't bullshit him. He wasn't coming up with excuses. He was willing to own it, and that was the type of man Dave was. If you owned your stuff and your mistakes, he had your back, and he'll be sorely missed.
I appreciate you telling that story. And if you're at his funeral, you should get up and tell that, by the way. That's a good one. That is a very good
It is. Yeah.
Pete, I missed watching you coach for the Dallas Stars, and I missed watching you, especially when there was a certain someone behind the bench that was quite showing some of those games. But we'll leave it there. I wanted to ask you on a more serious note, just in terms of players you've coached, and obviously Thomas Harley being a part of Team Canada moving forward to Milan. Now, this kid, to me, just seems like he's just scratching the surface. Do you think there will be a time where, obviously respect to Miro Heiskanen, but do you think there will be a time on that blue line that Harley could potentially surpass a player like Miro Heiskanen? Because those guys, just the way they control the game, especially with their passing and skating, is elite.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, that's a great question. I'll tell you, I don't know about surpass, but he definitely can play at Miro's level, which would give them two of the top 10 defensemen in the world. Kid's got ice in his veins. He's 6'4", skates like the wind. He's got a little bit of competitiveness to him, but in a really kind of casual way. What he did last year at the Four Nations. So he wasn't named to the team. He was an alternate, and he was going to Cabo on the Four Nations break with Wyatt Johnson and their girlfriends. Two young guys taking a break. And we went into Montreal, and Shea Theodore, I think, broke his wrist. So we needed him. And, we called him. I don't know if he was in Cabo yet or just about to leave, but, dropped everything, showed up in Montreal. And the rules of the Four Nations was he was still an extra because we had 7 defensemen when Theo went down. So he was now the 7th. But because he was a fill and he wasn't allowed to practice with us, he wasn't been allowed to in the game room. He wasn't allowed to do anything. So he was basically giving up his whole break just to kind of stand there and maybe play, maybe not be involved in anything. And he did it, no questions asked. And then all of a sudden we got another injury, and he's shoved into that lineup that Saturday night against the U.S. In Montreal in that environment. And I will tell you. Thomas Harley's a great player, and he's got ice in his veins for a young guy, but without Drew Doughty as his partner in that situation, Drew Doughty was so good with him on the bench. We paired them up, kind of for that reason. And Drew talked to him every shift, just play your game, kid, relax, don't worry. Really settled him down, which could have been a really tough situation for a young guy to be in. And Dewey recognized that and, deserves a lot of credit for how Harl's played.
I give Dewey credit too because he was injured, remember, and came back, played a little bit, and then jumped right into Four Nations. I'm like,
and took a couple big hits.
Yeah, like Brady Tkachuck a couple times, took a couple healthy runs at him, and Dewey shook him off. It was impressive for Dewey to go out there and snap it around after not playing for so long, Pete.
Really impressive, and you know what, and especially at that level, because you're right, he had just come back. I think he had only played for 3 or 4 weeks before we left. And there was question whether we were going to bring him, because, he was still working himself back into shape and some things like that. But you know what, again, another one of those, Mike Richards, Joe Pavelski, just gamers, don't overthink the situation. Those guys find a way. And he's one of those guys.
Hey, Pete, stick with Team Canada, buddy. We were lucky enough to be at the game at the Bell Center against USA. It's the best game I've ever been to. The one before that, as I'm watching, it was 2010, Canada-Russia. But that game at the Bell Center, besides the outcome, what a spectacle, what a great thing for hockey. But I looked at the bench, and there's you and Coop and Talks and Bruce Cassidy. Like, what's it like for 4 legitimate head coaches, been to finals, won cups, won everything, to sit in that coach's room together and break it down? Is that something that is just kind of out of this world, or what's it like to have 4, big boys in there breaking down the game for Team Canada?
Yeah. Hey, you know what? First off, I agree with you. I mean, that environment that night, Mario Lemieux came out to center ice, and you talk about the Shark Tank, that rink just exploded. And then the way the game started, that game was electric. The other thing about that game was I could not believe the speed of that hockey, how good, how fast, and how skilled it was as a coach. I mean, I almost became a fan watching it. It was so much faster than even a Stanley Cup final, because everybody on that ice could get up and down the sheet and skate and make plays. It was the best hockey I've seen live too. It was phenomenal. Sitting in that coaching room, it's how you get better as a coach. And the one thing about when you go and represent Canada, and I started my first team I did with Team Canada was the under 17 team when Joe Thornton and Patrick Marleau were underages. It was before they were drafted pro, so it's that long ago. But when you sign up to coach with Hockey Canada, it's an immediate check your ego at the door, like the players, and there's an immediate sharing of information. There's no one hiding their stuff. You've got to be an open book if you're going to take those jobs, and you've got to share everything you do in order to make everybody else better. So it's a fantastic environment, and it's a great learning experience. I come out of every one of those events I do, whether it's a World Championship or the Four Nations or World Junior, a better coach. It's been a big part of my hockey development.
Petey, we're weeks away from you jumping on a bird and headed overseas, and congrats on being part of this Olympic team. It's gonna be an amazing experience for you. But what's it been like with Doug Armstrong, a guy you battled against? You've now known him for a bunch of years, but what about Army? He's Mr. Hockey to me. Like he's smart. He's very methodical. He understands his players, his coaches, his scouts to almost better than most guys I've ever been part of in hockey. But how's Army been with with this whole process? And then are your skates dusted off and are you ready to rock and roll? And what sort of role are you taking on the team as far as working the bench?
Yeah. I'm running the defense and the penalty kill, and the skates are dusted off. I haven't had them on yet, so some deep knee bends and some groin stretches, but I don't have to move too much. Army, great point by you. He's one of the legends of the game. I mean, he's been in it for, I think, 40, 50 years. His dad was a referee, right? He grew up in the game. But beyond his hockey acumen, which is great, he's just a great person. I mean, I got fired in Dallas before I had a box packed in my office. Army called me, probably the first call I had after I talked to my wife, basically just saying, listen, I got you, if you get a job, great. If you don't, I'm going to put you to work for the Olympic team. We got lots for you to do. And just what I needed to hear at that point, because when you lose your job, you're not in a good space. And he was fantastic and recognized the importance of that. And that's years of experience and just the humanity of the game. So he's been a lifesaver for me this year and keeping me involved and busy and part of it. And, I've had some great conversations with him. He's got some unbelievable stories from his time in the game, all the way back to Dallas and their Stanley Cups with Brett Hull and that group into St. Louis and your group. So, he's a wealth of knowledge and just someone that's a lot of fun to be around. And he's a morning guy like I am. So, there was a lot of mornings we'd end up, sharing a coffee in the meal room, nice and early talking hockey, which is great.
Pete, obviously the Four Nations was an unbelievable experience. The Olympics is different, right? And as a fan here, I think I can speak for everyone at Missin Curfew. We want a Canada-USA gold medal game. That'd be unbelievable. But when you look at the tournament, there's other good teams. It's completely different. Is that something from a coaching perspective that you may mention to the boys early on in the tournament? Like, hey, listen, Four Nations is Four Nations. We got our eye on Team USA, but this is the Olympics here, boys, and it's going to be a completely different kind of, tournament or atmosphere, so to speak.
For sure. And and anybody that played in that Four Nations on our team should heed that warning, because we lost to the U.S. in game one. We had to beat Sweden in overtime. I think it was a Marner goal in the second game. And the Finland game, they almost tied it up with the goalie out before we sealed it with an empty netter. So none of those first three games were, and then the obviously the overtime goal by McDavid in the gold medal game. So all 4 of those games were really close, really tough. I just watched the World Junior Tournament, and again, it shows you how far world hockey has come. I mean, the difference between Canada, the Czechs, the Swedes, the Finns, and the U.S. was really minute watching that World Junior Tournament, and I think it's going to be the same here at the Olympics when you look at the rosters that some of these teams are pointing out, because there are some advantages some of those teams have. They have a lot of players playing in Europe that don't have to travel overseas, that haven't gone through the grind of an NHL schedule already. They play a lot more national team events and get together a lot more as a national team and work together. So there's some distinct advantages over there. Thank God the ice is NHL size.
Yeah. The Olympic size. I had to play on that Olympic size over there in Europe. I was like, oh, man, I'm not going all the way out there. They got to come this way eventually, Pete. I'm like, come on, I'm going to hold this post, buddy. You got to come here eventually. Pete, I wanted to ask you, obviously the hockey is going to be amazing, but to get over there and be part of the Olympics, what are you excited about? Maybe is it going to the Olympic Village and seeing the other athletes, or maybe checking things out? Or are you so focused on the job you have to do that you'll worry about that stuff when you have some downtime over there? Is that something you thought about from a personal level?
Yeah. No, you know what? I've thought about this since I got named. It's really, I'm looking at this as really the highlight of my career. It's something I've always wanted to do since the first time I started working for Hockey Canada. The Olympics are something, that I never thought about. I wasn't a good enough player. So it was never even on my radar. The fact that I'm getting to go and going to be able to stay in the Olympic Village, be around all those athletes, be in that environment, be at the opening ceremonies, really a life-changing event for me. So, I come from pretty humble family. My mother's a second-generation Ukrainian farmer from northern Manitoba, and my dad's a first-generation steel worker from Holland. So, it was never on their radar their son would represent Canada at the Olympics in anything. It's a special time for me and my family.
Pete, just one last thing, before we thank you for coming on, and congrats on all the success, the banner in Kitchener, which is well-deserved. I knew you're a good guy, not from just the stories I've heard from your players, but we saw you at Florida at the All-Star game a couple of years ago, and I mean, we had access like you're on the team.
We had full access.
But you came by and you said, "Hey, Obi, hey, what's up, folks? How many of these you played in?"
You played a few of these.
I played a few of these, two of these, I know. And I just died, and I'm like, "Fuck, that's just a good guy." So, we appreciate you coming on, Missin Curfew, and all the success over there at the Olympics. Go get them, and we'll be cheering on from over here, my man.
Well, listen, I was a fan of both of you guys as players, and love your show. So keep her going.
Yeah, Pete, good luck over there, buddy. And, you'll be behind NHL bench sooner than later. We can't wait for that. But go over, enjoy yourself. And thank you so much. Like Uppy said, man, we're big fans of you. Obviously, we're pulling for Team Canada. Sorry, Swishy. Hey, you're American-born player over there. We're coming for you, buddy. We're coming for you.
We'll be all right.
Yeah. Updog, Swishy. Thanks to Pete Deboer. Great guy. That's the most I've actually got to break it down with him, but obviously played against him in junior throughout our career. And like you said, Uppy, a lot of guys that played for him. Same for me. Everyone loves snapping around with him for him, and you can kind of see why there, right?
Yeah,
that's his beer.
It'd be a good post game, sit around with a few beers in his coach's room, and hell, the Team Canada coaching staff. I mean, to be a fly on the wall after a good win, against Germany.
I think we got to send some blue lights over there for
we might really too
for the coaching staff. But
Swishy, I mean, we talk about this a lot on our show about different coaches and guys you want to play for, and the respect that he gives his players. Like he's top.
Yeah, no, I mean, Pistol Pete Deboer, there's no secret he's led, numerous teams to Stanley Cup finals. The one question I was going to ask him, but I got a little gun shy because I didn't want to tamper with any of the situation being on the Canadian staff, is I wanted to ask him about Jason Robertson, if he would have had him on his USA squad if he was on the other side of the fence. But great interview. Good get by you boys. And he will be back behind a National League bench whenever he so chooses. Well-spoken, guy's guy, just a wealth of knowledge there. And just an overall good dude. It was a great chat.
Yeah, I love his answer up. He's like, so you're looking at it for a different lens, maybe a beer. He's like, well, there's a lot of beers when I was watching that, even as a coach. I watched the Kings play again last night. I don't know their coach, Jim Hiller or whatever. I'm sure he's a good guy, but like Pete Deboer out there right now, please.
Yeah, like
the Kings are so boring to watch.
And as he said, you get a team in, it's anything goes. And you heard him pump up Drew Doughty.
Yeah.
Maybe there is some cohesion there.
Come on out and enjoy the vitamin D. So thanks to Pete Deboer. Swishy, thank you. Up Dog. Thanks, fella. Thanks to Hall Pass Media. Max, the Ice Pick Pickup. Kyle, Casey, Conway. That was Missin Curfew.
Fellas.